what Castelli does in the beginning of this essay is kind of give a broad historical perspective of rhetoric. Dr. Arthos touched on a few of the big names: Kant, Gorgias, and Cicero. Kant's perspective on rhetoric is that you're going to completely separate reason and emotion, and reason is going to completely trump emotion. All rhetoric should be based in a logical flow without playing on a person, your audience's emotions. You should totally control your emotion that you're using in your speech, because he feels it exposes your audience to outside forces and endangers the autonomy of your argument. You start introducing irrationality to your audience because they stop thinking logically. An example of this might be, most recently, it's kind of a stretch, but voting. Most recently, November 4th, we all went out and voted if you didn't vote early. And when making a decision, it should be based mostly on your reason. You shouldn't be moved by, it's a little late now, but you shouldn't be moved by a person's emotional attachment that you have with them, not by the emotional not by emotion that they're presenting, not by their passion. It's important, so it's kind of a stretch that maybe Kant wouldn't agree, but your decision should ultimately be based on policies and reasons that a candidate is running. Next was Gorgias. He kind of takes the opposite stance, where emotion completely trumps reason, where you can take the weaker argument and make it the stronger by simply playing on your audience's emotions, by taking what you feel, what you want to do, and completely twisting it to get your audience to agree with you. This can be seen, I guess, the example that we talked about in class was Helen of Troy being convinced to leave, and it ended up starting an entire war where she was, given we don't know what exactly was said, was moved by emotion as opposed to thinking logically that, bad things could happen from this. The other one of the classics that Castelli kind of touches on is Cicero. And Cicero kind of has a more modern understanding where he says that reason and emotion can be used. He doesn't see a problem with using emotion in your argument, but at the same time, they are completely separate. They don't grow out of each other. They don't work together. They are completely separate identities, and that's one of the things that is similar through all three of those, the classics, as they're called. And Castelli's main argument is, excuse me, his thesis is that to fully develop an argument, to fully develop your stance, you have to use emotion and reason. They're not mutually exclusive. To fully challenge the human mind and create a solid defense of argument and stance, you have to use both reason and emotion. They play off of each other. Finally, he kind of goes into, at the end of this section, how reason is not usurped by emotion. In fact, emotion can help the audience and the reader develop the person they are, which I think is why he starts with the quote from Lear, that it is through the transaction of love as incarnated in humans that persons come to be. It is through your emotion that you develop your person, and you use emotion in your logic, so you develop your argument at the same time. All of them play off of each other and help create the stronger argument. It's not reason over emotion, it's not emotion over reason. They work together, they grow out of each other. And that's Castelli's argument throughout the article that we read. And it's a source of self-knowledge through your own argument. That's why the psychoanalysis comes into play, because as is the case with a psychologist, you are helping a patient develop themselves if they're asking questions. So through rhetoric, you're helping the audience develop their self, and you're helping yourself develop. And now, Jess is going to continue talking a little bit more about Gorgias' perspective.